Trey got to play the entire first half. His numbers do not look bad at all. 15 or 10 of 15. He got really lucky on the touchdown pass that he was a little late on the throw, and they were also talking about the receiver, the Ayuk lookalike. Was that Cooley? They say what's his last name? Conley.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there was maybe something late on his break as well. So this pass
was a super tight window.
Yeah, this pass gets tipped, and Dwelly just sees it in the air, picks it up, and catches it for the touchdown. So he has a touchdown pass. He was only had 5 misfires, but on the flip side, I want to say like the first 2 series may have had like 3 got sacked 3 times. And I don't know, the thing that I don't know, and this is again Tim Ryan, sort of the voice of the front office. He says something to the effect of, he's got to get that ball out much sooner rather than the offensive line needs to block a half a second longer. Like he really pointed the finger at Trey rather than the offensive line.
He was right before I turned it off, because that was actually where I turned it off. That one to Dwelly, he was right. It was the pass protection was shitty, but Dwelly was open. There was not another incidence of that where he held on to the ball and there was somebody out there.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it to us all of the pressures. We got 3 of the looks, and I love it when they do that, when they give us the all 11, so I don't have to wait until Tuesday to see it. But there on any of those other ones where he double clutched, it was because he didn't have anything. Now, a couple of times he was able to move, and Brandon Ayuk Jr., came open for him, and he was able to hit him. But the 2 things have to work together. He should not be getting all that quick pressure, and then our receivers have to win. So it takes me back to playmakers. In the
podcast we were talking about,
the podcast that we were talking about, and Mike McDaniel was talking about. He said it in terms of coaches, but it applies to quarterbacks too, where people are critical of a play call or a pass when, like he said, there are 11 people who are responsible for doing their job, and then there are 3 or 4 coaches who are responsible for making sure that they've properly developed those players to execute the play on that, execute their assignment on that play. So when a play goes right, there are literally dozens of people who deserve credit. And it's ridiculous that when it goes wrong, that only one person gets to blame, because it's never just one person's fault. So again, the same thing with the quarterback in the play. We always look, well, the quarterback messed that up, where there was clearly times today where the offensive line weren't doing their job.
Yeah.
And there were times when the receiver either, I'm not saying they didn't do their job, because the defensive backs get paid too. So if they're covered, if he did a good job, then he just did a good job. He just got beat. That's fine. But the quarterback it's the most dependent position on the field, but we give them an outsized amount of credit when it goes well, and probably an outsized amount of blame when it doesn't. So, and them's the breaks. I mean, they not on, well, even on our team, Trey is making a lot of money, but Brock is not. So, I mean, they don't make a lot of money, but most quarterbacks make a lot of money, so nobody's crying a river for them when they get blamed excessively. It's just that's just part of the gig.
So the other thing that I wondered was that if there was like a directive for Trey to not run, because in the first series, I felt like both of the times that he saw that pocket collapse quickly, if this was a real game, he would have got 10-yard slides and first downs on both of them. But he didn't. He kind of hung in the pocket, and then there was a moment where he didn't even have a place to fall down. So he was just in the grasp, and they called the sack. So that was the other thing I wondered is like, hey man, I don't want you running out of the pocket and because of the injury, we need to see you in that pocket. And if not, then just take the sack, fall down, don't get hit, and we're good with it. Because I felt like he could have had a couple of big runs if he had wanted to, or
That, so to me, number one, if that is the edict because it's the preseason, okay, that's fine. What I would hate that it is they are scared of injury, because I mean, then you really should trade him, because it becomes redundant. If you've got I believe if you've got a quarterback with that skill set and you just refuse to run him, it's why have him? I mean, it's because that is a big part of the package.
Yeah.
And I also hope that it's not.
And I didn't hear that. I just wondered as I was watching, it was in the back of my mind, like, he could have ran if he wanted to, and he didn't. So,
and then it's also another thing that I hope that it's not is like Donovan McNabb got into this thing with being a black quarterback. He wanted to prove that he could win from the pocket, so he wouldn't run. Yeah. He wanted, because he was trying to prove a point, which again, I thought, especially in that year that they ended up losing the Super Bowl, that was counterproductive for the team, that they were better off if they used his entire skill set. But you see athletes do that all the time. Another one that's in a completely different sport that irks me to this day is the fact that Marvin Hagler decided he was going to box Sugar Ray Leonard as opposed to maul him. He wanted to show us this was going to be his masterpiece. He was going to show us that he was more than the Brockton Brawler. He was going to outbox Sugar Ray Leonard, which is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. But
taking it back to 1987.
Yeah. So, I mean, do what you do. That's what I believe. I don't think that you should allow, I don't think, if you want to tell me that you're not running Josh Allen in between the 20s, that's fine. But if you tell me that we're on the goal line, you're not going to run that dude, you're nuts. because defensive coordinators stay up at night worried about that guy in their red zone package. So if you're going to tell me that you're going to take that away, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll take it.
And, he got way more comfortable when they were able to establish some of the play action, and he was able to create his own time, and a couple times with his legs, and he was getting out and making sure that he had a few extra ticks to make a decision. And, so it's a mixed bag for the performance. I would have liked to see what the first series or the first two series were going to look like if the offensive line had actually been able to block a little bit. But, ultimately what happened is what happened. And Darnold had a little bit more of an opportunity to just kind of sit in shotgun and let the ball out a little bit. And the guy's got a great arm. He can also move a little bit. You can tell why teams are very impressed by his ability and just hoping that he can put it together, because, sky's the limit with some of these guys who just for whatever reason haven't been able to do it. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a mixed bag for Trey and average to above average performance for Darnold. He didn't do anything that knocked my socks off. Like, I mean, if you wanted to compare, like what Aiden O'Connell did is kind of what you wanted to see both of those guys do.
Well, again, you have to take what I say with a grain of salt, because I am a Trey apologist, and I admit it. I'm rooting for the dude, and not that I'm against. And what people confuse that with is I'm not rooting against Brock, and I'm not rooting against Sam Darnold. I like Trey, I mean, and I want those guys. If whoever is the guy, I want that guy to be successful. So I want Brock Purdy. If he's quarterback one, so I want him to go out there and I want him to ball out. That's great. I just want to see Trey get his opportunity. I saw nothing in camp I still say Trey is the most talented quarterback on the roster, bar none. It's interesting to me that Trey performs best when he plays with the ones. I mean, I don't guess that should be a shock. I mean, he plays better when he plays with better players.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play as he didn't play as well. He didn't play bad, but he doesn't play as well with the 2s and the 3s. I didn't see, but that's the thing. I did not see that. Now, I don't think Brandon Allen got any reps with the 1, except maybe in red zone a couple of times, because when they were working red zone, the 2 times that they were on our side, they were really trying to get Ayuk and Debo were really getting reps in the red zone. So all the quarterbacks got reps with them. But other than that, I don't think Allen got any reps with the 1. Brock was good with the 1s. Trey was good with the 1s. I didn't really see any difference with Darnold with any of the groups. He was just kind of the same regardless of who he was out there with. Mm-hmm. And then Brock, I don't think he got any reps with the 3s. So he was always either with the 1s or the 2s. Trey got reps with everybody. Darnold got reps with everybody, and I don't think that Allen got any reps with the 1s. But it was noticeable that Trey performed better, much better than he, So I don't know if that means anything. Maybe it's just, we're talking about small sample size, so it could have just been kind of random. But it was noticeable. And the fact that he didn't perform as I don't think you would say he performed as well as you would have liked to say. I would have liked to see him perform a lot better, but I know those first couple of series I would not necessarily put on him. He was under siege. So
he made some intermediate throws that were very impressive. The one throw that will stick if you are looking to analyze something on the negative end is the touchdown pass. Like that was really the one where you're like, and then that was not a great decision.
But I don't know that, because Kyle, I don't know. Again, you got to take what coaches say with the grain of salt. He said in his post game press conference that he was impressed that not only Trey saw that window open late, but that he had the courage to try to rip it in there to him, because it was there for a second. And then the defender just made a really good play to close the window up. So, and then we got lucky with the bounce. But, I don't know if you can call it, maybe it was coach speak or not. I don't know. But, he mentioned it, specifically that he was impressed that he saw it and went for it. And, it kind of worked out, but it could have gone horribly wrong too.
I mean, I would have liked to hear what he would have said if the ball would have actually been intercepted.
Right.
It may have been a little bit different. We'll never know. But, Trey is smart.
But, everything he says positive about Trey is it's coach speak. It's not, he doesn't really believe it.
What about all the positive stuff he says about
Brock? Is what Brock. He's saying those positive things about Brock on a stack of Bibles. So,
so Trey did say, he's like those three and outs that to start the game, or the 2 3 and outs. He's taking responsibility for it. He's QB1. He understands the game. It is his. That's how leaders lead, right? And that's what we've heard in this camp, is that he has come into the camp, more of the leader mentality and, carrying himself in that way, which will be good because, the thing about it is, no matter what happens or no matter what we want to happen, Brock is QB1. Mm-hmm. And if Brock plays solid football, he's going to be QB1. Now, there's always the prospect of injury, as we saw. And Trey, if the Niners have him as QB2, he will be the next man up. But the thing that we can't do is we can't then go, well, Brock is playing, and if Trey was in Brock's situation, it could go X, Y, and Z. We just don't know. So it's really hard for us as fans to say, this is what the situation would be. That's, Shanahan's watching these guys every day. And so it's ultimately his decision. You got to see some of it. And I only have gotten to see what we saw today on the field. So I want to see more Trey. I feel like there's so many things that they can unlock with him that they have not yet unlocked. And this is why I'm very hopeful that he's on the roster, because I think that Kyle is creative enough to utilize him in situations like, we always used to joke about fullback Jimmy, because anytime it was 4th and 1, Jimmy's got it. Jimmy, I can't even remember how many times he's gotten stopped. I could probably count him on one hand from times that he's not made that play. And Brock Purdy can make that play if the offensive linemen create that opportunity for him. But if they don't, he's not, because he's just a smaller
He's not
player.
big enough to move the crowd.
And Trey, you would look at Trey in that situation on a 4th and 1, and you would go, okay, we could either quarterback sneak him, or we could do something else with, like, there are just opportunities, I think, where you can utilize him in ways that could unlock him that defenses won't be expecting, or that they will be on their heels about, or that they will just be like, oh my gosh, we're not ready for something like this.
And here's the thing with somebody like Trey, just in that example you just used, is the teams can't sell out on like a goal line play, because if he bounces it outside, he can go. He can take it to the house.
That's cap. We saw that.
It has to be in the back of your mind that he might take one step into the line and then try to race us to the corner. And if there's not somebody there, it's going to be a house call and we're going to all look stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you say, it's just those type of things. And look, if you are just out on Trey, what you need to have happen is for him to get an opportunity and ball out, so they can have a trade market for him. Because think about it, if you think he's trash and he's a bust, why is anybody going to trade anything for him? You're going to look. I've been saying it for the past month. Look at the trades that have happened for former top 3 picks. You look at the Wentz trade. You look at the Darnold trade. You look at the Baker trade. All of those teams had to give up money or give up a bunch of picks, like they did for Wentz. The Colts did the first time. Hell, even the Commandos gave a bunch of picks to get Carson Wentz. And both Darnold and Baker, the Jets and the Panthers had to send picks and money to those teams. So you to think that as is you're going to get some kind of haul, or even some kind of, I saw the trades that they were proposing this week with the Bucks, that there would be some kind of pick swap and then Trey. That's wishful thinking. Why? If you're think about it, I know from a fan standpoint, that's what you want. But if you think about it from the other team standpoint, what has he shown that would lead me to give you much of anything for him? I can help you out. If you want to get out the trade business, you can give me a conditional pick and pay some of his salary for me to take him. I'll do that. You probably can find that trade. But in terms of somebody like giving you a couple 3s or a couple 4s to get him, I don't see it. So if that's what you want him to get an opportunity and to either ball out in this preseason, or ball out in spot duty, because I'm not gonna be the one to wish an injury on Brock, but you want him to play well in his opportunities, so that some GM gets some ideas. Maybe they're just not using him right, and I can do something like that, because right now it's gonna be to trade Trey. It's gonna be a dump.